The Washington Huskies, who are somehow not ranked, the People's Poll has that right. The AP poll does not. They go on the road to face Michigan, where Michigan is a 5.5-point favorite coming off a loss to USC, a pretty bad loss in terms of how they looked on the field. Thoughts on this game, guys?
So it's going to be it's big noon kickoff, but it won't be Gus Johnson and Joe Klatt on the call. They're going to call the Holy War, but it's big noon kickoff for Washington, meaning they essentially are playing. They're playing at a 9 a.m. body kick, but it could be even longer because they're playing out in Seattle. So
they're playing.
It's playing at Michigan.
Yeah.
It'll be a 9 a.m. body kick for Washington.
Oh yeah.
Because of the time difference.
Yep.
Can they start fast? We've already kind of seen this scenario. Utah played on big noon at Utah. Utah started super slow in that game and really did not get going until the fourth quarter. Washington did get the extra rest by getting to play on Friday night against Rutgers, and Michigan had to play Saturday night all the way in USC, so there's some travel dynamics there as well that may help Washington with playing for a 9 a.m. body kick. For me, the key is going to be how does Michigan defend the big three. So they're playing Washington. That'll be Demon Williams, Jonah Coleman, and Denzel Boston. Against other big threes, the Michigan game, the USC game, the Oklahoma game, and the Nebraska game. The USC game, Maiyava had 265, King Miller had 158 on the ground, and Mekhi Lemon had 93 yards. The Oklahoma game, John Mateer was two parts of the big three, 270 through the air, 74 on the ground, and Denzel Burks had 101 through the air. And in the Nebraska game, Raiola had 308 yards through the air, Johnson had 65 on the ground, and Isaiah Hunter only had 34 yards, but Corey Barney had 120 receiving yards. So they have not done good in those three games, and they are 1-2 in those three games. Now, albeit all three of those games are on the road, and maybe the big house can help them. But for me, that's the biggest factor in this game. How do they stop Damon Williams, Jonah Coleman, and Denzel Boston?
Yeah, it's kind of the key point for anyone playing Washington. Going back to the body time, 9 a.m. kickoff for Washington in terms of body time. It is also a big concern considering how they've started other games when they've traveled. The Rutgers game, they started slow. The Maryland game, they started slow. It looked like they were maybe going to lose that game before they have a big fourth quarter to end up coming back and winning that one. So it's like not only do they need to start fast, but there's kind of reason to believe they won't start fast. Another key point, Justice Haynes may or may not play. He's questionable right now. And he's integral for Michigan's offense. Michigan's offense has not functioned very well this season. It's not been a consistent offense, but he is kind of the one consistent piece of this offense. You can guarantee he's going to get 100-plus rushing yards. He's probably going to pop a big run at some point. He just kind of has the knack for that. And so if they don't have them, I think the goal for the Washington defense is don't allow the explosive plays and make this Michigan offense drive on you, because I don't really think Michigan's offense is capable, especially without Justice Haynes, of driving down the field time after time after time after time, because their passing game really isn't there. Andrew Marsh, I will say, true freshman, had a pretty good game. I was rewatching the USC game yesterday night, and I was like, who is this kid? I was like,
true freshman.
He's making plays.
It's on my fantasy football team. So
Congrats.
Nice.
McCauley is kind of their other big weapon. But, yeah, if you're Washington, just make them have to drive on you, because you can kind of expect them not to be able to do that consistently.
Yeah, I think this is becoming a reoccurring thing. We've probably said this every time we talk to Michigan, but it's been very disappointing for how Michigan, one, has used Bryce Underwood. He has only 13 scrambles this season, and considering what he put on tape, that's insane. 7 of those were against Central Michigan. So that'll tell you how good Central Michigan is, that they forced Bryce to scramble 7 times. They lost by, I think it was 53-0. So shout out the Chippewas. But they have not used Bryce well, and then they were also not set up well for Bryce. Donovan McCauley has been like the only receiving threat. Andrew Marsh had a great game last week, but that was his only game outside of one other game this season where he had catches.
Sure.
He had 8 catches last week against USC and had the big touchdown in the second half. So I agree. Washington could just make Michigan drive the field. And if they don't have Justice Haynes, it kind of feels like the gig is up and it's over for Bryce Underwood in Michigan in the big house. I'll say it, though. I think this is another one of those it's another one of those teams. Like you said, these West Coast teams having to travel east have struggled. Last year, Washington was 0-4 on the road when they had to travel east. Excuse me. And, of course, the Maryland game this year, they kind of escaped in the fourth quarter. They'll have to travel all the way to Michigan again, and then with the 9 a.m. body kick, I just don't know if it works out and it helps them. Big House is already kind of a tough place to play anyway, considering it is the biggest stadium in the country. So I would love to see Washington win this game, but it's really hard to pick them unless you just have that much faith in Damon Williams and their other 2 stars.
Yeah, and last thing, speaking on Damon Williams, what he needs to do in this game is, first off, avoid the negative plays. He's had sack issues in their biggest games. Took 6, I believe, against Ohio State this year. Took 10 in their game against Oregon last year. I know he's explosive. He's fantastic at extending plays, but he needs the success rate of doing that to be a little higher in these bigger games. And then at the same time, though, he needs to not take those negative plays. But Michigan has struggled against scrambling QBs. John Mateer got on the ground a little bit. The Central Michigan QB had some success on the ground. So you have to find a way to use his, let him use his legs without getting sacked 6 times, because that's going to hurt you. So, anything you want to add, Sanders, or shall we pick this game?
Let's pick it.
Cool. Well, Michigan is favored by negative. Favored by 5.5. I was just reading, and so I saw a minus sign. It was like negative.
Yep.
Favored by 5.5. I'll go first. I'm going to pick Washington to win this game. I'm terrified doing so because of all the trends of West Coast teams traveling east. But I just trust this Washington team way more than I trust this Michigan team right now. I said it on Sunday's show. I'm out on Sharon Moore. And so to give me Washington to cover and also give me them to win outright, because I have I don't know. It's just it's going to be my kind of upset pick of the week, even though it wouldn't really feel like that big of an upset. But from a spread-wise, sure. And also I can say that and not take the L if they don't win, but they cover.
Yeah. I'm going to pick Michigan to cover because I am going to go with the trends of teams struggling to come across the country and play early kickoffs for their body. I'm going to take Michigan with their home field advantage. I'm going to take Michigan. I don't know if I would say, they've got 2 losses now, and I don't know the rest of their schedule off the top of my head, but, this is a team that I think I picked to make the playoffs, because the thought was they could lose 2 games, and I had Oklahoma and Ohio State. Losing to USC kind of throws a wrench in that.
But they beat Ohio State. That's a guarantee.
That's probably what it was. Is I had them losing 2 games. They can't lose this game. If you get the 3rd loss, then at large bid for the playoff, or even with 1 conference loss, they're still in contention for the Big Ten championship. I don't think they have the quarterback to win that right now, or at least they're not using him properly to win it right now.
I don't think they have the offense to win it right now. I wouldn't necessarily put it on him.
They still have a defense that could get this team to 10 wins, but you kind of have to win this game. So I'm going to pick them to cover.
Honestly, I feel like their defense has just been a letdown this year as well.
It's
has not been that same vaunted or feared Michigan defense.
They've been good in forcing turnovers, but so much of this for me is their just struggles offensively.
Yeah.
They have not been good. 13 points at USC and 13 points at Oklahoma in those 2 games that they lost this year. I think the defense will help them a little bit, but I think they win this game kind of in an ugly fashion. I'm going to take them to win and cover by 7 points.
Sure.
This kind of feels like maybe a 20-13 kind of game, and I'll take Michigan to win that game. I made too much of a big deal about it last week with the Michigan and USC game, and I was correct because I normally am, but I'm going to since I made a big deal about it again, I'm going to say it,
Sure.
or I'm going to trust myself again, and I'm going to pick Michigan to win and cover.
Makes sense.